Long story short, there was a boy who was told all his life that something was impossible, so he set out to prove them wrong. But along the way, he discovered something even more profound. This is long story short. High in the valley of snow-capped mountains lived a boy named Amir. His father was the village storyteller, known for spinning tales that transported listeners to distant lands and mythical times. Each night, as the fire crackled and shadows danced on the walls of their small cottage, his father would fill Amir's mind with stories of brave adventures and daring quests. As a result, when Amir grew up, he wasn't like the other villagers. Instead of tending sheep or carving wood, he dreamed of exploring the world. The thought of faraway lands filled him with wanderlust. He yearned to see what lay beyond the mountains, to experience all that life had to offer. One particular mountain loomed over their valley, majestic and imposing. They called it Mount Arizan, or the Mountain of Patience. It was said that no one from their village had ever reached its peak, because it was too dangerous. In fact, some believed the mountain was cursed, and any climber would vanish into thin air and never return. When Amir shared his dream of climbing Mount Ararat with the villagers, they just laughed. "Our whole lives we've lived in the shadow of that mountain," one old man scoffed, "and not a single soul has ever climbed it. Why do you think you can do what others have failed to do?" Another added, "Even our fathers and grandfathers tried and failed. The mountain is cursed, don't you know? If you try to climb it, you won't come back alive." Despite their discouragement, Amir refused to give up his dream. While others warned of danger, he saw opportunity. He studied the mountain slopes, traced its paths in his mind, and prepared for his journey. One day, Amir woke up before sunrise. He packed a small bag with some food and water, kissed his sleeping family goodbye, and started his journey up the mountain. At first, the villagers watched him from afar with amusement, but also with a hint of pity. However, as time passed and Amir kept climbing higher, their amusement turned into concern. The mountain was treacherous. Loose rocks tumbled down its steep slopes, and the path was barely visible. The wind grew stronger with each passing moment, whipping around Amir, trying to tear his hat off his head. But he pressed on, determined to reach the top. Throughout the day, Amir scaled rocks and scrambled over boulders, making slow progress. Just as his legs began to ache and his muscles burned with exhaustion, he would find a spot to rest. Looking down, he saw nothing but clouds below him. Looking up, he saw only more clouds above him. He realized he had entered the clouds, and then an odd calm descended upon him. A strange sense of peace settled over him. For the first time since he began his journey, he heard nothing but the sound of the wind. And then a beautiful sight appeared through a break in the clouds. The sun was setting behind the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange, red, and purple. And there, in front of him, lay a magnificent view of the world below. Overjoyed by this unexpected reward, Amir continued his ascent, energized and invigorated. The wind howled, rain poured, and the temperature plummeted. Shivering and soaked to the bone, Amir sought shelter for the night. He found a cave and decided to spend the night there. Huddled inside the cave, listening to the storm raging outside, Amir started to feel despair creeping in. Was his dream of reaching the summit merely a foolish fantasy? He missed his warm bed, the familiar scent of his home, and the comforting sound of his father's voice. Doubts gnawed at him. Perhaps the villagers were right. Maybe the mountain was cursed. Maybe he really would never come back alive. As the first light of dawn illuminated the inside of the cave, Amir noticed something. There, carved into the rock on the cave wall, was an inscription. It read, "The mountain tests not your legs, but your heart." These words resonated deeply within him, igniting a renewed determination. No longer would he be afraid. From that moment on, facing the challenges ahead became easier. With the inscription's message echoing in his heart, Amir stepped out of the cave, ready to conquer whatever lay ahead. And so he began his ascent once more. But soon, the path ahead became treacherous. Sheer walls of ice stretched up before him, slick and unforgiving. The wind screamed, making it hard for Amir to keep his balance. Yet he persisted, inching forward, clinging to the hope of reaching the summit. As he climbed higher, the air grew thinner, making every movement more laborious. But driven by an inner strength, he pushed on. On the third night, he faced the steepest wall of ice. Exhaustion tugged at him, urging him to stop. Giving in to the cold, unforgiving mountain seemed inevitable. Amir slid down, sliding down the slope, sliding down the mountain. Once again, he found himself sheltered in a cave, curling into a tight ball, trying to shield himself from the biting cold. As the harsh winds howled outside the cave, thoughts raced through Amir's mind. He questioned whether his dream was worth this torment. Images of his cozy home, his family, and the familiar faces of his village swirled in his head. He longed to be back there. But then he remembered the inscription in the cave from earlier in his journey. "The mountain tests not your legs, but your heart." Amir realized that the true challenge wasn't the treacherous terrain or the freezing cold. It was the battle within himself, the struggle to conquer his fears and doubts. The mountain was testing his spirit, his resolve, and his will to keep going. Summoning a deep breath, Amir got up. His body ached, but his heart burned with a newfound determination. He emerged from the cave and began the arduous task of climbing once more. He moved slowly but steadily, each movement a testament to his resilience. The icy winds slapped against him, but he did not falter. As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, casting long shadows on the mountainside, Amir's eyes caught a glimpse of something breathtaking. Through a parting in the clouds, he could see the sun rising majestically, bathing the world below in golden light. In that moment, he understood why the mountain had tested him so relentlessly. Reaching the summit wasn't just about conquering a geographical peak. It was about conquering oneself. As he basked in the ethereal beauty of the sunrise, a sense of triumph swelled within him. He had reached the top. It didn't matter that no one from his village had done it before. He had proven that dreams, no matter how audacious, could come true, if one dared to believe in them and work tirelessly to achieve them. When Amir finally returned to his village, the villagers were astonished. They had assumed he had perished on the mountain, and his reappearance was met with disbelief and awe. Amir recounted his journey, emphasizing the importance of believing in one's dreams and pushing through challenges. His story inspired many, proving that even the most daunting peaks are surmountable with determination and courage. And from that day forward, whenever someone doubted their ability or the validity of their dreams, they looked to Mount Arizan and remembered the tale of Amir, the young boy who dared to dream big and conquered not just a mountain, but his own limitations.